Alright, let's go over how to draw Godzilla and King Kong versus Shimu versus the Scar King, okay? They'd be jumping, alright? So let's do it. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to start with Shimu over here, because you go left to right. So Shimu is going to have like I'm going to draw his neck right there, kind of a line. We're going to continue out here, and it's going to roll right into his head right there, so the brow. Outward over here to the front of his snout, downward, very downward. It almost has like a hook. He kind of reminds me a lot of a griffin, if you know what that is. Let me know, by the way, if you've seen the movie New Empire, Godzilla X Kong New Empire, because that's pretty much where this is from. Gonna wiggle it up over here, so it's top portion of his mouth, and opening up his mouth over here, downward over here, back. So we're looking at the kind of underside of his jaw here. So backside of his jaw, downward over here, line over here, up, down. Let's go over here, get some sharp teeth in there, like so. Get some sharp teeth downward over here, line down. And then he's got this kind of like almost triceratops looking kind of spikes in the back of his head over there. They're not all like that, but some are like that. Kind of draw them here as well. What you could also do is draw like a little line on the edge of him, because there is those little frills on the edge. Pulling down. Curve over here for his hand. Line outward, up. So you got his hand over there. Downward over here to the elbow. Remember, think of the arm as a tube, pulling out. Up over here. And his claws are a little bit more, I would say, dog-like, let's say, than Godzilla's. They're a little bit more, you know, because like Godzilla's like front hands are more like hand-like. His are not. Down over here. I'm going to follow this through, right? We're looking through it, drawing through the form, pulling back, and continuing back here. It's going to end in like a vignette kind of thing. Maybe we'll draw a line over here. Let's go over here for the other hand. Downward over here to the elbow, out. Top of the forearm, going in. Don't forget to hit the like. This is a pretty hard one, I gotta say. So definitely hit the like if you can. It helps out. Inward for the opposing thumb right there. And right here for his hand, which looks a little bit like a spatula, because again, he's got like more kind of animal-like pose there. Out over here, and downward over here for the body. Okay, let's go over here and draw the frills on him. He has more spike-like. I don't know. It's a little bit different than Godzilla's, because Godzilla's look a little bit more like a flowery. His frills, these guys are a little bit sharper and edgier. So remember, there's no rhyme or reason with it's just the direction for a lot of his spikes. What you want to do is you want to kind of get the vibe of it. You don't want to get an absolute, you're not a robot. You're not going to draw absolutely, right? Everything, you might redraw this and draw it a little bit differently. But what you want to do is you want to get the impression down. That's the biggest thing with a lot of these. Curl here for the shoulder. And under here, honestly, you can just kind of draw some dark over here. And then we can get to scales like after we get kind of everybody kind of in the picture, okay? So let's do that. That's him. We can draw a little bit right here. Draw the nostril at the edge. Looking a little bit happy. Let's get a little bit angry. Let's go over here now. We're going to draw Godzilla on this side. So let's say Godzilla's pretty close. His head is more box-like. Don't forget to go to the link in the description. I talk a lot about stuff I'm putting there. There's going to be a Godzilla free head drawing tutorial, like worksheets for you. So go take a look at that. It's completely free. Go take a look. So his mouth opens right off the bat. He's a little bit smaller than Shimu. Okay, so his head's going to be smaller. again, approximate it. I would say about like half the size of his head, maybe. Probably smaller in reality, but back over here, down. Godzilla's neck gets bigger, right, as it goes back into the body. Curve line over here into the hand. So kind of thinking about the elbow here, pulling back. Downward over here, the body. Line over here. And he's gonna have his leg over here because he's definitely running in this movie a lot. Down to the wrist, gets smaller at the wrist there. And some claws right there. It's the end. Again, getting the vibe down. Boom, boom, boom. Claws right there. Wish I could make that finger a little bit longer, but we're drawing at a smaller scale, so it is a little bit different. Let's start drawing Godzilla's spikes right here. And I was going to say these look a little bit more mountain-like. And they interweave. Usually there's 3 layers of spikes, but to kind of shorthand it, it's completely fine right here. Just kind of shorthanding the little spikes or the big spikes. Back of the jaw over here, curve for the back of the ear. Dot right there for the nostril. Line over here for the gills, and we can kind of draw the color differentiation in this area as well. There is a little bit of a snake belly that you want to kind of look at. Curve here for the leg, and then his leg is huge. And downward right there at the bottom right here, we're going to have the this Bigfoot of Godzilla right there. And then he's going to just, it's going to be outside the page the rest of his tail. If we were to look at the kind of details of these guys, they're gonna have like scales, and you could draw them quickly like this, kind of like a hashtag. That's totally fine. Maybe you can draw some thin lines, try to make them thin, because if you don't draw them thin, they're not gonna come out right. They're gonna look too thick, and they're gonna cause the viewer to look at the attention too much, because when you're doing stuff like this, you're thinking about the viewer. Will the viewer be able to tell what's going on at a first impression? I almost forgot the teeth in Godzilla's mouth. That's hilarious. Again, drawing at a smaller scale is way different, I think, than drawing at a larger scale, because you just can't, dive in and, see every single detail like you're zooming in on someone's face. I would say this is good enough too. I like that. That's pretty good. They're fighting. Okay, let's go over here to Scar King, and you're not going to see him as much because he's going to be hidden behind him, but he's going to be over here, Scar King on this side, and a lot of his face is going to be covered by the axe. So, he's got, there's a scene right there where he has the axe. So let's start with a hand. Downward over here, pull back, and again, he's not going to be as noticeable. Line over here. Back down. He's got that Rafiki kind of thing going on. That look, maybe back of his body over there. And it's interesting to draw this way, and I'm glad I'm showing you this. Curve right here for the top of his head. And maybe you see a sliver of his mouth. You're not really going to even see Scar King very much, Maybe right here you see a little bit of the mouth. So when you're drawing stuff like this, you're drawing more shorthand, really. Right, so you don't see his face. It's kind of covered up by the him holding the axe over here, because this is a battle scene, right? Line downward, and I encourage you guys to draw like this more often, where you're drawing in shorthand. It's like you're drawing notes, and so I want to talk a little bit about this too. There's something called like other hand. Up over here, and let's draw, because I think he takes Kong's axe at one point. So let's just say it's something like that right there. Alrighty. Okay, right over there. Let me see. This will go down over here in this area. I crossed in the wrong way. So how do you hide a mistake like that? Let's just throw some shadow right here. It's cool because you're actually learning to draw, using these shorthands, and you're learning a lot of tricks because you kind of have to because it's so small, right? Let's go up over here, and let's draw the edge of the axe. Is going to go off the top of the page there, and let's say it's going to be the back here right there. See, you're drawing that shorthand, which is different. And the thing is, let's keep going over here because his spikes are not hiding this whole body. He's back there, and we will kind of go into him a little bit more. We're going to go into all these guys a tiny bit more, and then let's go to Kong over here. So let's just say Kong, same thing. Kong's, let's start with his eyes. Over here for kind of the nose. Remember, the nose is really close on a gorilla, so we're doing this shorthand. But what's going to be most noticeable about him is going to be his open mouth. Right? He's got this open mouth downward right here. He's got this giant fang thing going on that gorillas tend to have. Out over here, I'm just going to like put his eye in shadow right there. Line over here on the side. Pulling down. And he's got a pretty, I would say, like cool jaw, which is interesting for him. And he's got a pretty small head. Not as small as Godzilla does, right? But he's got a pretty small head. Line over here. Drawing in a couple of lines there to make him look a little bit better. He has a huge brow. I forgot about that. See, the brow. See how that makes it look a lot better already? If this is too quick for you, please, rewind and go back if you have to. Sorry, this one, there's so many people in it. I just have to like people in it. There's so many kaiju in it that I just have to like, kind of talk quick. Otherwise, the video is going to be like, an hour long, and I don't want that. So we see his arm go that way. Maybe a couple of lines right here to show the upper muscle of his body there, upper body. We got the front of his chest here in this area. Pull down. His chest is bare. And maybe you have his glove over here on that far end, because that glove is a cool part of that movie. It's like ridiculous, but it's really cool. Like it's funny that he has a glove in the movie. It's like, what? So we got that big old Thanos glove in the back. Line over here. And I would say with a glove, we're drawing it like we're drawing Legos. That's literally what I'm thinking about. I'm like, okay. Literally like we're drawing a Lego set. See, that looks like a big glove, which it is. Line over here. Thinking of like breaking up this shape to make it look more like an organic, inorganic thing of what it is, right? It's not organic. It is a mechanical device on his arm. If you like the movie, like let me know what you thought of it. I thought the movie was awesome. Like let me know if you've seen the movie, and like share the video if you can. These videos are incredibly hard to do. By the way, like talking during it is like, wow. Like I'm talking right now live as I'm working on this, and it is like shockingly hard. It's probably one of the hardest things I've done on this channel. So please hit that like or hit the share, anything. So on his glove, as far as mechanical stuff goes, think box-like. And then, to be honest, you can kind of just flub the rest, because there's so much mechanical parts on it. You can throw a couple lines in there, and it gets across to the viewer, which is what we're talking about, that it is a mechanical device, All right, so he's back there. Like I said, these guys, Kong and Scar King, are going to show a lot less. Clearly, because Scar King, we can't even see his face. He's got this, like, axe thing going on. That's the best way to fit in. So as far as just looking at it now, that's the hard part. The easy part is going to be kind of doing small details for fun, and that's kind of up to you. But for me over here, I'm going to draw, maybe pull out a couple little darks, especially these guys in front, and then I'm going to throw a little bit more on the scaling, maybe like these little curves right here, and those curves are going to bring a little bit more life into these characters, right? And that's kind of what we're after, bringing life back to these guys, bringing a little bit more personality, and a lot of that comes through these little, what do you call it? These little scales. It just looks better, and they have to be thinner. That's a big thing, thinner than the main details. Otherwise, they're gonna not look like details. They're gonna look like prominent shapes, and it's going to cause a huge mess, and you don't want to do that. See, right now I'm just drawing these little curves, and a lot of it is cool because you're going by the feel of things, right? You're kind of going like, okay, this looks good here, or that little shape right there, like this little notch of the elbow, that's a landmark, right? And I could teach you about that in some of the tutorials that I do. Um, we'll talk about that later. But for example, like just like this little curve, that's just like I think it looks nice. Personally, it's a scale. There's a reason for it to be there, right? But also, I think it makes the image in general look better, right? Let's throw a little dark here. Let's throw a little bit dark with everybody. So around the armpit area is a great way because where darks are going to be. It's a good place to accent it behind the neck. Same thing with Godzilla right here, maybe right below the neck, right? You want to accent it a little bit, maybe right here in the armpit as well. And it accents these dark areas, which really make a difference to kind of anchor the drawing, the viewer looking at the drawing. They're like, oh, okay, the main mission, I would say, is when you're doing something, when you're doing a drawing, one of the main things you want to keep in mind is how will the viewer look at this? And I know we're doing drawing to, entertain ourselves and be better artists and, for self, like the things that we like. But you also want to know, does that come across? Have you ever done a drawing and then like the next day you go look at it and you're like, ew, what the heck? That's because, you lose sight of that stuff. And, in the moment it looks good because you're staring at it too much. And then later you kind of view like, is that understandable to someone watching? And that's kind of like a good question over here. So we're drawing little lines over here on the spikes, but not going to do that many because, again, it is, clouding the whole image. But, all right, let me see. What else can I add to this? Kind of look at it. Looks pretty good. I like this. I think it's a great little image, and it's a shorthand. So thank you so much. Please share it. This was unbelievably hard to do it to talk while I'm drawing. So definitely share the image, and I'll see you in the next one. I want you to stay right now. Stay, and we're going to do another drawing lesson together, okay? So stay right now. Let's do it.